Hi everyone, welcome to the January 2021 pickups video for How to Lose at Video Games. A little weird time to be putting this up. Usually right now I'd be at work, swamped with the Saturday crowd, overwhelmed with like 2.5 hours to go, but that's not the case today because I have COVID. I had COVID positive test a couple days ago and I feel pretty much fine, especially a couple days after. But this is still really shitty. Not, being able to go out because you could give this to somebody and have it really, really suck for them or kill them. So, I'm very lucky that this is the most I've had to deal with. A little congestion, a little bit of a cough, not much else, but stay masked and everything. And here we are. I got nothing else to do, so here's my pickups video for January 2021. Starting out with some cool stuff. I got a couple of repros. A couple Game Boy repros and one actually for the 64. Starting out with here, Magical Chase GB. These are all repros that I'd had it on my mind for a while because I knew that they existed and I was like, those are really cool. Those are games I'd specifically want. Magical Chase is, if you're not familiar with it, is a cute 'em up from the TurboGrafx where you're a little witch on the broom. Like you can see right there. And it is by far the most expensive game on the TurboGrafx. It is like 5 digits. I said five digits. And it got a Japanese Game Boy Color port, which is what I have right here, a reproduction. We didn't get it over here in the US, but you can buy a repro of it with English, like so that you can pay for stuff at the shops and stuff, for like $12. So way better than paying, over 10 grand for a TurboGrafx Hue card with it on there. Cool stuff, and you can play it and everything. Then that we have Pokemon Trading Card Game 1 and 2 on a Game Boy Advance cartridge. They're just on Game Boy Advance cartridges probably so that they can fit them. Because these are Game Boy Color ROMs. Obviously, Trading Card Game 1, that's the one that we got. In Japan, they got a Trading Card Game 2 follow-up, which has gyms, the gym sets in Team Rocket. I was always really surprised that they never did a follow-up in the 20-plus years that we've had since the original Game Boy Color game. They did, but it was like really shortly thereafter, and then, since then we've had nothing, just nothing for Pokemon actual like trading card games that you could like sell people a game and teach them how to play the game and sell cards based on the fact that like, oh, I like this game and I know how to play it. They don't really have any problem selling cards right now, but 20 years. I thought they would have done something like that, but I've always wanted to play the follow-up because the original only had the first 3 sets of cards. That's still going to be a very basic game, but at least you've got twice as many cards essentially. And then here we've got another cool little 2-pack of Game Boy / Game Boy Color games. This is Super Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2 DX. So someone hacked these to have full Game Boy Color style color palettes, which is awesome. With Mario Land 2 in particular, which is an absolute masterpiece of a game, having full color on it is gorgeous and really, really great. And again, it's just on a Game Boy Advance cartridge probably so it can fit. But seeing these in action with full color is super cool. I love it. Really, really glad to have the ability to play Mario Land 2 in full color with like really, really well done color on it. And then one more repro. This is a 64 repro. This is Smash Remix. Smash Remix is a lot like, I think it's Project M, like on Brawl, and all kinds of stuff. Adding more characters. Most of the additional characters are clones, but more characters and being able to, kind of stuff more stages, more music, more things onto the 64 cartridge. So that's really cool. This isn't the most current build of it. I was a little bummed by that I don't, the one that I just bought like this month didn't have the most current build, but at the same time, like it is a game that is constantly evolving and people are still updating this ROM hack with tons of stages, dozens of stages from what I've seen. I still need to play a little bit more of this to see like full extent of like what's on my cartridge with the build that I have of it, but at the very least it is really cool to see more characters, just more characters on the 64 Smash, which I love. So, and then I got two two more 64 cartridges. These are actually two imports of the Shin Nihon Pro Wrestling, the New Japan Pro Wrestling, Toukon Road, Brave Spirits 1 and 2. I think this is Brave Spirits, and then this is Brave Spirits 2, the Next Generation. These are the Yuke's wrestling games. The Yuke's engine goes back to WCW versus the World, and I think Japanese counterpart to that was around 95, 96. And then they made Yuke's, and published by Hudson, made these two games right here. So this is sort of the oldest, I want to say it's the oldest example of New Japan's video games. They might have had Super Famicom ones because there were a lot of Super Famicom ones. But official, like, focused on New Japan Pro Wrestling video games, the Toukon Road series, that's the PS1 games, then these ones, and then the ones that shared the SmackDown engine, essentially. These are just two really cool. Like, I've got all the N64 wrestling games for the US. I've got those complete in box. I've got Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. And now I have these two, which I got for pretty good prices, actually, what I thought. I didn't pay that much. I didn't even think this one would be here by now because the shipping would have taken so long. But it made it here in a couple weeks, so I'm glad I got both of these. Now I'm really just looking for, I didn't think I'd ever have to buy it, but I do want to get Virtual Pro Wrestling 1, which is World Tour, WCW NWO World Tour, but it also isn't because it's got a way bigger roster with a bunch of guys that they did still cut out, even though we got all the renamed guys. But anyway, yes, more 64 wrestling games, really cool stuff in here. One 3DS game, Nintendogs Plus Cats. This is the Toy Poodle edition. Nintendogs is great, and there's not really a lot of focus on it at this point, especially with all the no pun intended copycats that there are of them out there. But I do think the cats thing is cool to have both the dogs and cats thing be done really well. But I mean, I played Nintendogs a ton, like when I had my first DS, and it's great. So it's not like these games aren't well done. They're really, really polished and everything. So that's the main reason to like still want to get these. We don't have them on the Switch yet, but it would be really cool to see them do a follow-up with that. Two Switch games here. Me still being really big on the Pokemon kick right now. I've been following this game for a long time, and I finally pulled the trigger on it and started playing it. This is Nexomon Extinction, a really, really, really blatant Pokemon ripoff game, published by P-Cube and made by VWO Interactive, VEWO. It is a really, really obvious, like, we are making a Pokemon game and just changing names and stuff. But, you know, I really do applaud the effort. I think that I've been playing a little bit. It's slowing me down a lot. I don't know how much I'm going to play more of it at this point, because it's very, very grindy. The battles are kind of tough. Big chunks get taken out of your Nexomon's health bar, even on just some random scrub wild battle that makes you have to keep running back to the center, back and forth a lot. It's tough to make progress, in one session. But I do like a lot of the designs, and the thing that I admire about it really is that if they don't have something that they really need to change, they don't really bother changing it, and they save the actual effort of changing stuff up for stuff that they actually have original ideas for, which there are some in there. So I appreciate this game. It's not a full-on Pokemon game. It's not nearly as good, but it's really, really interesting to see something on this scale for a Pokemon clone. So if that sounds like it interests you, just to try it, just to see what they come up with, I do recommend picking it up. It's like $30, I think. And then the other game, Immortals Fenyx Rising, and I'm bummed that I haven't actually made myself pop this in and start playing it yet, because I want to get my money's worth out of it, since it's a Ubisoft game and they're dropping in price already, and that's why I've already picked it up. But basically, I was really into this game even when it was just called Gods and Monsters. When it was first announced, it was called Gods and Monsters, and it's like Greek mythology stuff, and I'm like, yeah, give me that. I want anything you can do that's like that. I'll be into it. So we've got a open world, typical Ubisoft type of game, but I like the art style. I like the presentation that it seems that they're going with on it. And it's on PS5 and Xbox Series X too. Like, this is, first steps into the new generation of consoles and stuff. But I wanted it for Switch all along. Have to get to it soon. But I've been hearing that it's like it feels a lot like it's trying to be Breath of the Wild, and people are like, oh, it's not nearly as good as Breath of the Wild. I'm like, well, of course it's not. Like, if it's good, it doesn't have to be Breath of the Wild good. Nothing's Breath of the Wild good. So Immortals Fenyx Rising, I'm looking forward to popping this in. I think it's really cool. It's my aesthetic. It's all that stuff. Haven't tried it yet, though. This game, I don't know that much about this game. This is sort of a, like, fantasy set sort of adventure puzzler game, Fading Shadows for the PSP. It has a cool look, and is not the game. This literally looks like the cover to Lord of Arcana, which is a traditional like PSP RPG, and it turns out it's something completely different. So I'm like, okay, yeah, no, it seems interesting because I'd never seen it before. I've got one GameCube game, the original Burnout here. For as much as I love Burnout, like specifically Burnout 3, probably my favorite driving game ever. I really don't have as much interest in games from before that because I know that they're a lot different. It's weird that Acclaim honestly seemed to have missed out on like the real glory days of Burnout, starting with 3, going through Revenge in Paradise, even though it was the same developer, Criterion. But, what GameCube is, getting tougher to collect for, especially with, I want more GameCube stuff, even though I have so much of it. And, I'll pick up, stuff here and there. It's like, well, it's an arcade driving game with crashes. I wouldn't buy it on PS2, but I would throw it in the collection on GameCube. So that's my reasoning for picking up the first Burnout is GameCube's getting scarcer and scarcer, and arcade driving on the GameCube, yeah, I'll take it, And we'll cap off like I said, a pretty short video with a couple PS4 games. PS4 games, some of which are, actually all 4 of these are games that I did not really think I'd be into, but I've been looking into more of them and more games that are not the kind of stuff that I've already bought and I've already played on my PS4, but I do want to play, I do at least want to pick up and give this sort of send-off that I've been giving to the PS4, because at this point, I've been looking at my collection for it, I've been looking at what it's done over the past 6-7 years, and man, other than the PS2, I mean, it's got to be the best console the PlayStation's put out, and it's got to be top 5, really, all time. Like, top 5, definitely top 10, maybe top 5 consoles. It's really, really impressive, like, library-wise. So anyway, so here's a couple things, just to keep adding a little bit outside of my usual comfort zone, but all looking really interesting. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Again, I'm not, Ubisoft had just got the Immortals game. They make all the same damn game, but Assassin's Creed Syndicate takes place in Victorian-era London, which is a really, really cool setting. That's mostly the interest I have in Assassin's Creed games, especially the ones they've been doing recently. Like, I haven't gotten into the series, but I do love the settings that they use. So we're talking Victorian-era London. They just did Valhalla, which is Norse mythology stuff, and they just did Odyssey, which was Greek stuff. So now they have another game for that. Origins, which is ancient Egypt. That's it's cool stuff. It's really, really cool settings and everything. So, and you have stuff in here like you literally interact with like Charles Dickens and Charles Darwin too. That was the thing. It was like the two Charleses. So yeah, you meet historical figures and things, and I'm interested in that. Not that interested in the gameplay as a whole, but interested in whatever it does with the setting and the story. And then, like, again, not a traditional, like, huge player-oriented content type of gamer, because I'm never going to really go into the creation tools, but Dreams. Dreams by Media Molecule. I keep looking at it and it says MM, and I'm like, it's not their name. Oh, Media Molecule, that's right. The Little Big Planet people just, like, continuing to expand on their ideas. Dreams is a game where you make games and you do a really, really impressive job of just building stuff, and what I've seen people do is just crazy. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what is in here, basically. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Deus Ex series I have not ever really gotten into, but it does look really cool, the type of things, the sort of dystopian future stuff that they do with it. And I heard that this one is, again, really, really good. I don't think they really have a lot of missteps in the series, but I really haven't gotten into it yet. And any of the games that I do have, I feel like I could just maybe try and jump right in, but I haven't done it yet. But got huge, huge recommendations on this one. So, and then lastly, Hitman 2. I still actually do want to pick up Hitman 1 and maybe start from the beginning of this new trilogy. But Hitman, definitely like stealth stuff, not something I've typically been very good at. I've tried to play Hitman 2 Silent Assassin before, not my cup of tea, but I really, really am interested in this sort of like creative, narrative creative sort of types of kills, all this type of, doing the assassination stuff, the Agent 47's job, and the sort of interesting twists and turns and the interesting ideas that they can work in. So I've always wanted to be into these games, but I never have been able to, and I'm thinking, this new trilogy has gotten some really rave reviews, so I would like to try and get into it with this new trilogy. And so I've got Hitman 2, and I'm going to try getting a physical copy of Hitman 1 at some point and giving it a shot. And that's it. Like I said, small stack, but, cool stuff. Repros, N64, imports, I don't know if I'm going to have the interest to try and do like a full stream and do like win back just yet, but I'm really looking forward to doing that. So we'll see where we are at the end of this coming week. And I'll see you next month, at the very least. So, see you later. Stay safe. Mask up. Be healthy. Not everybody gets this.